So that will be going in. I think we've just got to ratify the aid, but that will be starting at the beginning of July. I've ordered some seats because it came without no seat pads, so I've just ordered those today. Found out where I can get them from online playground, and I think we'll have a little event to promote that it's going in. Me and Jane's been looking at the playground, and we're looking at putting it at a different place, but a place that's covered by the CCTV, because I don't want to damaged or painted or anything like that, because it looks brand spanking new. You've probably seen the posts on, we put that post on Facebook about the story of it and how it's evolved. So we'll wait until the ground is done, and then I think we've made contact with Steph and to come and cut the ribbon to open it. We'll do a little plaque or something in, saying who repaired it for us and what have you.
Are we going to put some softball servicing under it as well for people falling off?
I think we're going to put the grass mats down. The mats and the grass will come over. Yeah. So because the wet ball's so expensive, yeah. I think we'll just put the grass mats down. Okay. To come under. The other thing is now the roadworks all open down on this road. Everything looks joy. The skate park is now being done. The path going through, the skate park is still accessible, but the path is, I came in, I had to pop home, so I came back tonight and they've actually dug the path going through. So that will be good. So then that's accessible because now we've got the fostering and the path going in. So that'll be done. He's also doing the steps onto the skate park and all the other jobs that were meant to be done down there, but we're now getting done. So that's all on the action log.
Yeah, and the new gates as well.
And yeah, he's widening the gates as well, taking away the pedestrian access and making it a bigger gate so that people can easily get on there. So that's all in hand. That's all started this week. We've had a health and safety visit. We had one annually. They came on Monday. I wasn't here, but everybody saw them around, saw the risk assessments. They were very impressed with the compound, and they were impressed with our grants manager and what he was doing there. And they're just giving us a few more things to look at, so I'll bring that back to the development and amenities meeting to go through that report, because I've put it in my email box today. So we had a street feast. It was okay. There was plenty of people about at the beginning, and then it petered off. So we're just having a look at the music festival and what we can do for that. We're trying to get some other things involved. So we're just getting, we've only got one food vendor who's confirmed at the moment, so I'm looking to get a food vendor and looking to get a barbecue in. So I've made contact with somebody today. I've also made contact with a street entertainer who does still walking and bubbles and things like that, because it's going on for a long while, because it's 12 till 9, so I've got to keep people there. So I bought some garden toys. I bought a great big Connect 4, and I'm going to get a Jenga and things like that, just in a tent. And then we've got a stage coming, so we can look at the bands right in the middle of the marketplace on a stage, rather than the bandstand, because the music is better there, I think. And also Jasmine and Helen went to a Norfolk SLCC event on Friday. I think it was quite good, wasn't it? Yeah. Very interesting. Talking about community paybacks. That's something that I'd like to get involved with, so I will make contact with the people who do that, and that's the community people. They do their service, their community service, and then they come and do jobs in the town. So we've got lots of stuff, lots of things that need to be done. Just tidying up the town, really. Going around the streets, getting rid of weeds or anything. So if anybody's got any ideas where they think that community payback people can do, please let me know. So in your different wards that you need stuff doing. So I've just got to make arrangements for that. That'll probably be sort of September time when we do that one. But yeah, I mean other councils use, and then I just think we should look at using ourselves. But that's all I've got.
Anything to say on the financial audit? in the pack, is it? The findings of the audit.
Yeah, it's in the pack.
Is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
the health and the internal auditors reports there, isn't it? In the pack.
I think I've seen it. If I didn't know
Oh,
that.
is it not there? Did I not put it in? No. Oh, okay, I will send it round, but there was only two little things on there. One where I'd meant to tell you the amount of the preset, so that wasn't minuted, the amount of the preset, because it went to that. And the other thing was, I didn't tell you about the conclusion of the audit, and everything was okay in the conclusion of the audit, and everything else was fine. I have got it upstairs, but I will send it round to you. That was the only two remarks that they made.
That's good.
I did go in and see it.
And she was quite happy, wasn't she?
Oh,
Yes,
yeah,
with
it's
that.
all-
She didn't do ever so much like she would, because she said Eleanor had done a lot. Eleanor can do the numbers, had done a lot, so she was impressed that she'd been in, and
And it's always helpful because they provide you with some advice and guidance, so it's always helpful to have a chat.
she said we can change some budgets around and things, didn't she? So that's what we'll be doing.
Okay,
I didn't create that, I'm so sorry. I'll send you around a copy of it, and that will go on the website anyway.
Any questions for Wendy on all that? Okay. Item 5 is Mayor's announcements. I think it's much to report. I shall be taking part in the Carnival Parade, providing Premier Road's not still dug up. At the last meeting, I told you that we're coming through wet sponges at you, letting people took up that opportunity. It was very cold. Right, item 6, public participation, district councils, county council. Saul Langford, you're going first.
Yes, please, Bob. Can we get away with what's the controversial planning thing coming up then? Well, firstly, hooray, as you said, Wendy, the roadworks are finished. Looks great, all functioning well, I think. Safety team are going to be popping back just to monitor from time to time. There's one or two little issues, I think, potentially with Ben about directional signage and things that I'm just going to pick up with him. Particularly down Grammar School Road and the right-hand filter onto King's Armstrong, where we need to mark that or just get people into the lanes, as it were. But I want to say thank you to you all, actually, for your vigilance and patience over that 6 months, a long time. Did all finish on time, but it took a long time, and there were a lot of questions and queries, and there was clearly some distress in town, that some residents felt, particularly on Arundel Road and Stratton New Road. So thank you for handling that, in particular, Wendy, who obviously you liaised a lot with highways through that whole process. So very grateful, thanks from me for that. There are other highways issues, obviously, which are popping up now, which were held back, particularly Cromer Road, but Lucy's going to speak on that once I'm done. Just wanted to give you some advance. My next highways project is through Felmingham. So obviously out of parish, but a road I'm sure you will travel the B1145 from here to Aylsham. So there are 3 weeks of road works that will be closed for resurfacing right through Felmingham, which it does need. That road is pretty poor. It's got to be, I can't remember the name of the farm, but as we come out of North Walsham, there's a sharp left from there right through to Colney, so it's quite a stretch of that, starting on the 21st of July.
I presume we'll get notification of that, won't we? Because that will affect us.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I'll check, I'll make sure the highways engineer send it out. He's just sent the consultation letters to the residents there because it will be, both lanes will be closed, both sides of the road, I should say. Obviously there'll be access, but not all the time for the residents where their research is proper research, not just surface. So the official diversion actually is up through Mount, which clearly, is designed for HGVs because there are quicker routes through some of the places like that before you get across to the A140. So I will check with you that you get the notification of that because it's obviously close to us, a road that we travel a lot. So again, I've been lobbying that for a long time. And, it's good that these things are coming up, but they are a bit town and with the most road in the whole of Norfolk at the moment. And the other thing was just the only other thing I've got is that Lucy and I both had notification of a new community fund called the Norfolk Community Fund that is launched on the 1st of July that the county council will have. So this is in addition to our £12,000 highways fund. This is a £5,000 fund for us to give to small local projects that have community impact. Wide range of organisations, such as really off the sheet I got through this afternoon, not limited to charities. The focus is benefiting the local community, such as cultural celebrations, sports, music, and social gatherings. That was interesting. Popcorn through or something like that. But there's a focus on youth, environment, and community. So any application can just come to us, community groups come to us with an idea. We can sign anything off that's 500 or under. That just gets directly funded. Anything over 500 requires 50% match funding, likely through crowdfunding. But the grants can be between 200 and 2,500. So that's available. So if there's any community groups that you want to send our way within our respective divisions, then please do that. So like a really good thing. We then just keep track of what we spent, but it was like a very straightforward process. So please do take advantage of that. I think that's it from me. Again, I think you probably get notification of that when you got that. You got that.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So we can promote that across the town.
Yeah, I'll pop it on. Do you know, I think Ben said that the little triangle bit, and they're doing that imminently, aren't they? Top of Ramsgate
They're doing the
Road.
roundabout and the split on there,
Yeah.
Definitely. I have asked them as well to do the one over on Milfield Station Road, Milfield Road, that roundabout there.
Yeah.
But I guess that's a little bit further up down the branch just a minute. But yeah, certainly the one on top of Ramsgate Road is on the list to do ASAP. Yeah. And then we'll have to come back to the signage we were talking about for the restricted zone through the town centre. We haven't sorted that out. We talked about the size of the sign. Might need to go near the hop there to warn people of that, to try to stop traffic coming through at restricted times. Just to get more with that.
And we've also had our parish partnership thing, and so I will bring that and specifically thinking if there's anything that you want parish partnership.
Yeah, I
Around
mean, your
50-50.
question about King's Arms Street, I think there's a maximum amount of
Yeah,
parish,
I've
I
got
think
to
it's
look
50 grand.
Yeah.
That the parish partnership will go up to. And I think that's the end of the war. But I'll double check.
But if we pay, we have to pay half, don't we? So it's 50-50, isn't it?
But the max they will give is 25.
Right, okay.
So the max you could give is 25. They're not making it a 50 grand scheme. I think King's Arms Street improvements to the pavement with that set.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure exactly what we have that through, so I can check that.
Might the county fund that, the difference? The original idea was it might be a split between county and town.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about the parish partnership is they'll fund 50%. Clearly, it's got a cap of 50,000. And this scheme is more than that, and it's not eligible for it. Unless we decided to do a chunk of things, do a phased approach on that. I could be wrong, but I got the feeling it was about 6 to do all of that. And they were kind of thinking they would fund a bit of it, and Lucy and I could put in some of our highways if we get that £12,000 a year. And so, the town council may put in a big chunk of it, and I think highways might put in 10, 15, 20, something like that. Given that they've just spent 750,000 on quite expensive, but that's all that cost. So, and the grammar school road stuff was in addition to what we were initially intending to do, so we managed to get that through at the same time. But shall I go back and just check what the King's Arms Street cost was?
Please, yes.
Yeah.
I think it's in that feasibility study.
It was, yes.
Yeah, that came through in about 2022. So,
What's gone up?
it might have gone up, yeah. But certainly David Allfrey and Irish, when he came, really came and walked through everything that was very sympathetic to both of those, you know, so signed off Ramsgate Road, along with the crossroads, was sympathetic to King's Arms Street very much, but said there's obviously a limit to what they could give to North Walsham. But that's in addition to the parish partnership. I think that's a separate, you know, he was just finding the extra lots of money for Grammar School Road. Sorry, was there another question?
Yeah, if the limit is 50,000, we're not sure of the current cost, if it's going to be more.
Yeah.
If it was near 100,000, surely we could do it in 2 phases, couldn't we?
That's what I was going to say. How do we not just
I
do
think,
two?
Right.
One
Big
side,
yes, yeah.
one phase, one side, the other phase, or
I don't think it's about to be clever on how we.
can we be clever on how we process this?
I'm sure we can,
Thank you.
but I would need to talk to the highways engineers about how we do that properly.
I'm sure you can.
I'm sure we can.
That, because the parish partnership has to be in by Christmas, I think, we get up to December to put that in.
It would be silly not to take advantage.
Yes. In 2 or 3 phases.
It does go for 2. Is North Walsham ready for another road? So, maybe we'll do that next year, but we can line it up.
Just 25, 26.
We can line it up for next calendar year. It'd be nice to get that done, because I think that's critical. That part there is, we all know needs to be. Yeah, so let me go away, I'll look at the cost of that, and then I'll have to think about whether we could phase it.
Yeah.
And if we can, let's go for parish partnership for as much as we can do for the 50,000.
Okay.
Okay, that's it for
Okay.
me, Mr. Chairman. I might just wait for councillor
Shall I
Scott.
tell you some stuff you don't know?
I'm going to walk out. I might walk out at any minute, if that's all right. I was going to wait for the highways.
So Cromer Road, I think the town council contacted, and I know Mal had a visitor today who raised it. I've spoken to the streetworks team, and they said there's a temporary suspension of the walkway at the bottom of Cromer Road, so residents can turn up Cromer Road for access to properties. They were going to make sure that the signage hadn't been put there at the time I had the phone call. They will return to make sure it's there. I also mentioned the Fun Day Parade, because that should be coming down Cromer Road on Saturday, and the road closure is in place until Monday. They have assured me that they're going to do everything within their power to make sure it's completed by Friday. Now, I'm not going to say that I don't have faith in Andy Water completing the road works in that time, but I'm sure Mal will update on his conversation with Andy Water that he's had in the weeks previous. So don't hold your breath, but from a highways perspective, they're working towards it, which is helpful. The other road works thing that I wanted to just discuss with town councillors is when we had our 24-week pause to bring any more roadworks to the town because of the big change that we've done. That means that I've not been doing my wonderful pothole local amenities walks because I didn't want to bring any more pain to the town. So whereas previously I was reporting 50 to 60 issues a week, I've not been able to do that, and I've chosen not to do that for the town. So I'm going to invite town councillors to come and walk their walks with me so that we can do as many on mass as possible. Some of the town councillors that have been here for a while will remember that last time I did that, the highways team told me that I needed to manage my expectations. And then we ran out of budget 3 months before the end of the financial year. So if we have to spend money in North Walsham, let's get that done. So I will reach out to each of you that's in my division, and we'll go and hand some paper think there are some issues that we need resolving, and most of them are not as bad as anywhere else. But if we've got investment in town, let's keep it in town. I did visit Munsey Road with Jasmine, and she came to meet with the highways engineer just in May because we've had some issues of speeding. It's mostly driver behaviour down there, aggressive behaviour, not driving to the road, not being very thoughtful of pedestrians, that kind of thing. So we've had a good look around there. We've noticed that some of the white lines need to be painted in the centre of the road and on the junction of Wingate because they faded massively. I have been told that there is a scheme coming to replace the pavements on Wingate. However, I have asked them to just pause on that for a little bit because I think that should be written into the 106 agreement for the Munsey Road development. I don't think that the traffic that will be coming down Wingate, I think that will be quite impactful. So I don't think we should be repairing the pavement ahead of any construction traffic. I think that makes sense. So we've looked at that. We're going to get some signs down there whether or not it's the pedestrian off the speed, because it's not just the vehicles coming down, it's the size of the vehicles coming down. We can't put speed humps there because there are large HGVs and they will, through the vibration, they'll break the speed humps. Obviously, the speed humps aren't great for our emergency vehicles. There is an issue where we have one side of the road has got broken double yellow lines, and that's causing a lot of issue for residents down there. Mainly because if residents are crossing into the non-pavemented side, there's not a clear line of view. So we're going to do little things, do what we can first, see if it makes an impact, like the Santu down there, we've had the lids down there. If no impact is made or significant impact is made, then we can go down to and spend there. I offer to take as much as I can out of my highways budget. The highways engineer Justin has assured me that some of it is remedial work that needs to be taken out, so that won't be out of my budget, but the signs will. So we'll just see where we go on that front. Overall, there are some issues in the marketplace. Some of the work there has been damaged through large vehicles or parking, things like that.
Well, the bollard has been done on Monday.
Marvellous. That was hit by a vehicle that belongs to one of the businesses in town. So we've got a little bit of work to do in the marketplace, but I think as part of the mass report of North Watford, I think we'll start in the marketplace first and then I'll work our way out from there. In terms of devolution and LGR, I know that everyone's getting tired of hearing of it, and I won't
I'm reading it
go
right now.
Well, talking about that.
I won't go through the whole thing right now. I know that somebody met with the county council a few weeks ago where they assured everybody that they weren't looking at single unitary, they hadn't made their mind up. Well, we know in recent days they've come out and said they're proposing single unitary. That's where they're going with that. I know the cabinet voted on that recently. Hopefully we can get some debate from council about that. I've been quite open in how we feel about that. I know that the district is holding their formal meeting tonight on devolution, where the varieties, town and parish councils there. And I believe that Jasmine's in the Munsey one tonight. They spoke to them last week. And really that's just an update on the position of where the district council is and where we see it moving forward or moving to the district. And then if there's any questions I can take that. So as a district, we've spoken and come out and saying we think if we have to, we don't think LGR is the solution to the problem that the government haven't yet identified. We believe that if we have to do this, then it should be 3 councils, and the reason we think is because we want to keep our councils as close to the communities as possible. There are lines being drawn everywhere, and South North have come out and said 2, but 2 means that North North is split. As long as South North doesn't appear to be split, I think the compromise in South North is 2 councils is that North North is split. There are various conversations that need to happen. We spoke about how a Norwich unitary makes sense, a greater Norwich area makes complete sense in terms of geography. it's just how we do the west and east and north and south and how that all works. But the priority for me is always going to be work-life density and how we can serve our communities best. So that's where we are with that. So I don't believe that there are anything new, because I think the presentation that's presented to town parishes is the same as district councils receive. So that's where we are. I'm not sure when any publication will be made, lines drawn maps. But as soon as it is, we'll let you all know. Aside from that, the only other thing that came up, which was a surprise to Wendy and I, was when one of the planning applications on Norwich Road, we got notification that the planning application on Norwich Road had been withdrawn. I mean, like, why the top didn't withdraw it? And it's very, very simple. They had two planning applications in and they withdrew one that was preferential. So the planning, the development hasn't been withdrawn, which is a little bit bittersweet knowing it's the Hopkins development, but they will be planning ahead with it. They've just removed the one that was preferential. And I'll hand over to Mark for any questions.
Thank you.
Might not be anywhere near as exciting as all of that. Done normal things of supporting residents with all sorts of queries, and today the issue with residents at Angel Hall coming in to visit me to ask how they're supposed to access their properties after they've left them. But probably the most major thing is working with Wendy and working with officers to identify what is really happening in the church grounds in Selbytown in relation to the bins and some requests that have been made there from property owners. I've spoken with David Burton as well. I believe you've got some recommendations as part of your pack. I would fully support those recommendations. I suspect that some of the businesses will possibly be a little bit resistive to what you might be saying, but I'm hold your course, because the idea that all of those properties down there could have bad collections is just not a good idea, if you ask me. That's going to fuel a problem which exists now. It will be far worse and compounded out in advance if everyone's got bin permits. Beyond that, I've spent some time talking about Angel and Water after listening to them give a presentation at the overview and scrutiny meeting, where they declared that they were the best for leaks. I didn't laugh when that was mentioned, you'll be pleased to know. Apparently, including satellites and radars and all sorts of things, they actually have dogs that can sniff out leaks.
Don't need a dog to sniff out.
Well, certainly the Cromer Road didn't require anyone to sniff it out, did it? However, they assured me that they are the best for leaks and many other things. So we've asked for 12 months of data back from North Walsham. I put it to the rest of the committee that North Walsham, being the largest town, with all the other towns growing and the problems we're seeing, we are a good precursor of what other locations may start to experience and how bad it could start to get. Although with what Bert said again, while they claim they're the best for leakages, their own data says that they, through leakage in their system across their full area that Anglo will cover, is 182 million litres every day of wasted water, which is phenomenal when you think about that. I think that's 70 odd Olympic swimming pools worth of water every single day, or as I worked out at the time, enough water in one day to provide every resident of North Walsham for water for 5 years at no charge, which seems like a nice thing to have, but we won't ever get that. So I'm waiting for them to come back. I'm going to keep challenging them and pushing them on that, because we're forever told, don't pour more water than you need. Think about if that taps running in, are you using the hose? Actually, they are the biggest wasters of water across the whole area. It's as simple as that. I'll update you obviously when the information comes back, or I believe it's 2 weeks, which was said was the deadline for that return on that data, and I'm sure that's passed. So I think we'll probably wait a little while to hear back from that. Yeah, so that's all.
You know, but we don't have absolute not done one Saturday afternoon, is there that?
You would have to check with Colin, although I suspect that there could be a slight diversion from Muncie Road, maybe around from the industrial estate. Or, you know, there's a couple of other options that could exist. Hopefully Colin has taken this into account already for Fun Day, so, and then hopefully Angle and Water, being the best with their leakages, will impress us all. Yeah,
Not holding your breath, are you?
I'm trying not to.
Yes, yeah.
First is Anglian Water again. So the same meeting, I challenged them on water supply and sewage disposal as a town roads. You'll be pleased to know they have no plan. So there we are.
Do they expect to have a plan at some point?
At some point, but it's unlikely to tie in with the 15-year growth across North Washington West in particular. What about Water Town, about the year I was bought?
So in practical terms, does that mean new houses might be there but not having water?
Well, there's a legal obligation in the water supply. Whether that affects the phasing, because they can't, remains to be seen. The other issue, of course, is can Marshgate cope? And even more importantly, can Searsville giving you cope? And keep the sewage on Muncie Beach. So, they were challenged and they came up once as usual. Then I'm trying to do all the leaks. Second issue is just an update on the plan. As far as Muncie Road is concerned, the inspector's happy with the site per se. But he has made it very clear that access must be straight out onto Main Road with a roundabout. It's a road insists on roundabout. And they must do everything to minimise traffic impacts on Wingate and up Muncie Road.
Such that rooms.
So we wait to see how the policies are rewritten and what the inspector says on them. There will be a consultation sometime, probably only on the last camp, starting late autumn of September. Council seems to be spending money for the stuff on that.
Okay, good point. Any questions for any of our councillors? Okay, the next item is police. I don't think we have a report from them. The rugby club, the chair of the rugby club came to see us today and is keen to find ways to try and integrate into the town board so that people are aware of the club and what it does. Obviously, they share the town's name, they're located outside the town. Yes, so we said we'll try and promote it through our media if we can, and maybe need to do more to advertise or have notice boards or in other ways encourage people to go to their ground. But it's useful to make a contact anyway. Next item, public. Anything from you, Claire?
No, it was going to be like Saturday's parade.
Thank you. Item 7, finance. Next one is to approve the expenditure since last May's meeting, which is on the list in the pack. Any questions on any items in that?
I just might point out the big ones, obviously our insurance.
Yeah.
That was agreed at the DNA meeting on the 18th of March. I think that's Gordonella signs. I think that is the notice boards in the cemetery that were replaced. Our grant to North Washington Bloom has been made. We put that in the base budget. Graphic edge of the signs. This 1,120 is graphic edge. They're the new boards for the yard sale. Once we've got them, and we'll just put a bit on the bottom of them, but we had to redesign them because they were on North Washington Plain and they've got to be taken over that, so they've got to be in North Washington Town Council. Ernest Joe, that bigger lump sum was for a new lawnmower, push lawnmower. and Cousins 1,850. That is for the street light down Kimberley Road. They have not invoiced us. I think that is an insurance claim.
I know they put the new column up there, but the base of the old column was still there last
They-
week.
Cousins have now got a agreement with UK Power Networks. We won't have to rely on UK Power Network anymore. They're going to be able to do what UK Power Networks
Right.
work.
So will they come and take it?
They're going to come and take that away. I did speak to them, I saw them the other day and said, when are you going to take it away? So they said that would be imminent.
Okay,
So
thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, so I'll propose that we
No, what's it, they-
propose we accept those payments. If someone would like to second. Eric, Vice Chair.
North Washington Plain, yeah. So Laura, yeah, and all in favour?
Okay. We've got the bank reconciliation there.
Is that the one that's got a little bit of an error on it?
Yeah.
And there's an explanation why. It's because I think she's explained why.
I've got to do that, Chair. On the explanation, I was saying that we paid £40 back and we're waiting to be charged with 32.
No,
That's why we've got more in our account. than we should have.
32 less VAT. So what happened was they took the wrong amount of money by direct debit. So 32.64 plus VAT was £40. So I think it's rectified itself now. But so they
So
took,
it's in two numbers, it's £32.64.
yeah, and that's how I worked that out by £32.64.
Yeah, but you said they should have taken 32.64, but they took 41.28. The difference between those two numbers is £8 something. So I'm confused as to,
Is that the VAT?
no, because the two numbers for VAT are £1.64 and £5.24, which is £6.
No, it should have been taken, but the amount they did take was 41.28. So I think they took the wrong amount. It was to do with a refund. It was to do with some stuff that we sent back. So they took the wrong amount, and we're waiting for a credit note to come through for them. So that's an
Just at the moment, that explanation doesn't make sense. The numbers don't work.
They won't balance.
No.
I will go back to that and check that and
Yeah,
make
you
sure
do.
that does balance. I mean, I didn't want, she just put it in because we have to present that, but at the
Yeah, no,
moment,
I was
that's,
just going to say, if
Yeah.
we've been refunded one number,
yeah,
and we're waiting to get charged for the other number, that would mean why we've got more money in our account than
Yeah.
I think we should have.
yeah.
So
I'll
that-
double
that's
check
the
that.
scenario.
I didn't check it.
Tick. I'm happy.
Yeah, yeah. I'll check that.
Thank you.
So it's where it's got, how it's got covered back, but
No, yeah, okay, that's fine. I'll check with her. I'll present both of them in July, the May Bank Rec and the June Bank Rec in July to show that they're approved. Yeah.
8.3, the summary of receipts and payments since last month. Just for your information. I don't think there's anything unusual in that. I'm sure we've got some preset in there.
Yeah, we've got the first lot, please.
And 8.4 is update from the Finance Committee and recommendations. Something for you there, Eric?
Wendy can help me.
All right, okay.
Yeah, there were no recommendations. We've
Oh,
just got
okay.
to go back and sort out the financial rates and things, haven't we? Financial risk assessments
To go back and look at
and
again.
the codes and things. That's what it was mainly.
One was financial regulation and didn't reflect what we had approved suppliers list. The second one was the grant award policy, which is just out of date. Simply. That's why we've putting it, so that's going to come back to us. In terms of payroll, we're not proceeding with that. We don't think that's necessary now at the moment, but we were consulting with maybe something to convention.
Yeah, so I think we've just got to get that, when I type the finance minutes back, so what you need to be recommended that the payroll doesn't change, it stays in-house, but we use a different provider, because the provider that we use at the moment is really an old provider, and I've used a different provider which is really clever, and it's a lot cheaper, the provider, so it's Bright Pay.
You've been doing the calculations.
For doing the calculations, doing the works out the.
It's not rocket science, is it?
No.
It's a bit of payroll and it
No.
can be done very economically.
Yeah, and,
in modern ways.
so the payroll provider is really, the old one we've got is really difficult to use, but we're going to go with Bright Pay, I think, and that will be, I think it's like £100 a year where, I can't remember what it's called, the one we use is like £300 a year, I think. And Bright Pay, if there's, it just does it all automatically before it even works out your pension, where you put the pensions amount and works it all out, where the one we're using at the moment doesn't automatically work the pensions out, we have to sort of calculate it. So it's more foolproof. And I think with payroll, Jess is doing payroll at the moment, and I just think it works well because I second it, I check everything, so we have two people doing it. I can do it. And there's only two of us, so that's okay.
And the only other thing we will be bringing back to the next finance committee in July was revised budget forecast. There's some recoding got to be done. To actually ensuring it reflects the 25-26 budget. And also that we've got a forecast of projected expenditure to the end of the year, so we know what the situation is. So it's going to be quite high in the first month or two, we should slow down. And but that's the key thing, is that to make sure that as we go through the year that we're within budget, or if there is over expenditure, we're aware of where it is.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay, thank you, Ray. Any questions for Eric? Thank you. Item 8, correspondence. I think we had an email about.
I had an email, I'll just read it out to you. It says, I write to you as an armed forces veteran to state my horror at seeing a pride flag being subordinate to the Union flag in the Remembrance Garden inside the Remembrance Park. Remembrance for many of our townspeople is a very serious matter, often for very personal reasons. The Royal British Legion, the national leaders, in maintaining remembrance have continually maintained anything to do with remembrance should remain outside any politicising of any event that is tied, however loosely, to remembrance. Pride appears to many to be a politicised pressure movement to challenge political decisions. I understand that for some people in the town that pride is also very important to them. This does not mean that flying a pride flag in the town's Memorial Park is the appropriate place. In fact, the vast majority of dog walkers who use the park find it to be very insulting, the memory of those who have lost their lives fighting for the end of Nazi tyranny in Europe, and in many subsequent armed conflicts around Wales. I'm asking that this insult is moved to a more suitable venue, and it should not be flown at any remembrance venue within the control of NWTC in the future. So I replied back and I said, good morning, thanks for your email. The Union flag was flown for the King's birthday trip in the colours only. I've now asked for this to be removed whilst the pride flag is being flown. I'm in the middle of getting planning permission for a flag pole outside our offices, where all future flags such as the pride flag will be flown. The flag pole in the Remembrance Garden will then be flying the Union flag. And I haven't had a response back.
Can I ask a question? What did we do? Did we have two flags flying?
Yeah, so we had the Union flag flying with the pride underneath, and then as soon as it was King's birthday, because you should really fly the Union flag for certain events. So then after that, we took the Union flag down and just put the pride flag back up again.
Okay.
So I just wanted to let you know, that's how I
Thank you.
replied.
Yeah, there are national guidelines on which days we have to fly flags.
Yeah. I know it, I mean, as soon as we can get a flagpole up here, then it'll be a lot better, and it's, people can see it then, it's a lot more fun. So I just thought I'd
Okay.
let you know that I have replied.
Another one on shop fronts.
Hmm?
Another correspondence about shop fronts.
Oh, no, I haven't got that. No, there's no correspondence regarding the shop fronts. We did have somebody who complained about the state of the shop fronts, but that was just done on Facebook. They tried to put a comment on Facebook, and then obviously we don't have comments on Facebook, but they were saying we as a town council should make sure that the fronts of the shops are more are maintained and things like that.
And.
No, so I didn't reply because it was only a Facebook comments, but when I policed, I think was, or one of the landlords, sorry, was going to look at doing the fronts of the shops when we see him, we'll chase him up about getting those done. The landlords, but they wanted us to, well, yeah, and the neighbour, yeah, but they wanted us to paint themselves, and I just said, no, that's something that we would never do.
Not the appropriate use of their funds.
No, I didn't reply, but I just want to let you know that somebody had tried to comment about that.
Okay, thank you. 3.2 clerk's decisions
No, I haven't made any.
this month.
No.
Okay, item 9 on planning applications, the cherry tree one, there's still no comments from highways on that, so we're still pending response to that wise. They've been quite slow to respond, but that's right.
It's disappointing, I mean, it's the crucial issue there, and what it takes is not good.
The 15 Bluebell Road, so the rear extension, which looks very benign to me. And 34 Hazel Road is a proposed development in a garden, which has already got permission. Their proposal is to have a combined exit for vehicles rather than two separate, which I don't think really makes much difference to us. Highways may or may not have interest.
It looked particularly ominous
No.
on the planning application.
There's no objections to those, is that correct?
Yeah, I think so.
Proposed?
Do you want proposal and second?
Who's Julia? Second.
No.
Sorry,
That's all.
I think
And all in
360
favour?
Usual section.
yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Item 10, at the last month's meeting, we agreed it was probably appropriate to not have a personal committee and form a staffing committee if a particular issue comes up. But most staffing issues have to come to full council anyway, so we just need to formally agree that if we're still happy to do so. Propose that we do.
I'll second it.
All in favour?
Will agree, ratify, down there.
Item 11, got 12 policies there, most of which are quite long-standing, looking at them. I did have a look through and didn't see anything obvious that might want changing. If anybody else has any comments.
I would suggest, Chair, that they will probably need updating in a year's time, but we need to give ourselves time to just go through them.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
We'll start to go through
Yeah,
them
it- because we've got a lot of new councillors who perhaps they can just look through them and
Yes.
ready for next year.
They weren't necessarily all written by officers at the time. I wrote some VAT policies, my wrote all the copyright policies.
Yeah.
We weren't supposed to be doing, but nobody else.
I've just put them all in, but I will be spending more time on policies and making sure they are.
I suspect a
all
lot of
up to
these could be combined into
date. Maybe.
a fewer number because they do overlap a bit.
Yeah, they do overlap.
So, for the purposes of this year, I propose that we accept all those.
I'll just make a couple.
Yeah, sorry,
questions. I'm
yeah.
not precious about any of this, but when I looked at the press and social media policy, it said, whilst it may be legitimate for a council to make clear that he or she disagrees with the policy, voting against it in the open meeting, they should not seek to undermine a decision through the press. Well, they should not seek to I'm not sure that that's really necessary. It wouldn't be tolerated with enough material quality because the councillors oppose something, they're entitled to do it. And if they then say something publicly, well then that's a matter for them. The key thing with all of this is that town councillors should not be expressing views which they represent the town council. not. Not in their make that clear, I'm sure we need to have.
Okay. So press and social media, press is usually just done by myself or the mayor, as it
Yeah, that's right.
usually what.
But I just don't think that's particularly necessary, but if we're going to look at it again, when we're talking about social media, council's not allowed to stand for broad events and discussion or argument about over matters over which the town council has no control. But we really need that key thing again, is the councillor shouldn't be saying anything, whether it's
As individuals.
Well, it should be, it's a body or not.
Body or not.
but upper tier councillors write letters, comment on Facebook and say, I'm councillor so and so. I'm just saying that we just need to be consistent.
Yes, okay.
It's interesting, code of conduct training, where she talks about on social media, not necessarily use the appointment councillor on your social media, because that is your own personal opinion, not represented on behalf of the town council. So separate very clearly what your role is in relation to, and also if you wish to comment as a member of the public, wait until after town council's done their bit, so you're not preempting or doing something that's to do that. That's quite useful, that code of conduct piece where clearly differentiate between your role and your person.
Sorry, Chair, you can still get yourself into an awful lot of hot water, even if you're commenting as a member of the public and you sit on the town council, because if we make comments, it can go back to the monitoring officer, and they can complain about you having an opinion, even if you have an opinion as a member of the public. We have to be very aware of that. I've fallen foul of it personally.
Could it not be reworded slightly so as not to bring the town council
Into disrepute.
Yeah. Because then it kind of covers council, but also as an individual. It's respectful that we might not all agree, but we're all mature enough to value each other.
Hopefully, but unfortunately, keyboard warriors out there don't tend to think of that. I mean, I was upheld by the monitoring officer, which was good, but it caused an awful lot of stress. So don't just, if you ask my opinion to what to do, Chair, don't. Just don't comment. It's far easier. Yeah. Watch what's going on.
Yeah, I think one of the issues is those policies were reviewed way back in 2019. The world has moved on, so it's become far more vicious and vindictive in that time. And it's probably one of the key policies we do need to review for a lot of it.
A lot of this
Unless
will
there's
be
been legal
amalgamated
change.
as well.
Yeah, so, I mean, I can go back and have a look at, the press and social media policy.
Yeah.
Is that the main one that you think that needs
And
to be?
the other one about, not the, you see.
Community
at
engagement.
Town council level, take a planning application, town council votes to approve, let's say they're in favour of it. That doesn't prevent a town councillor, if they're asked by residents, making their own objection. Now, that's not really, in my view, undermining the town council's position. But, that policy statement could open us to accusations when there's just no need.
You're right on that one. It could be an application saying in my ward that the town council opposes. I could decide it's not appropriate to call that one in to committee or vice versa. So,
But there could be a situation, if I may say, that you are representing the people in your ward who do have an objection, but it isn't upheld by the council because it doesn't meet the policy. You are there to represent it, but it has to be done in a certain way.
Not
There's
on
no
social
other,
media.
not on social media.
I think a situation like that, only probably not necessarily called in, but anything, I would certainly be speaking to the relevant planners. And if it did come to committee as a level of objection, then I would represent those as a committee member, as the chair and vice chair for those. Just one of the parts of the two members in my ward, so. It's authorised, the press releases. Do we do formal media training for yourself as a chair?
Well, the clerk does
I do.
do
You do the media, and yes, you're, because in your absence.
It's usually me
Yeah.
who does media.
And I occasionally get contacted
You get
by press
contacted if
if they want a quote from
they
me.
don't want to
but
phone.
generally,
Yeah.
Two golden rules. The mic is always live, and nothing is off the record.
no, I've been,
You're too far on.
So like when the Rockenhorse disappeared, they came to me for a statement and I'll just decide whether I give a statement at that time or not. I just sometimes say, town council, then looking into it.
so are all, is it just, well, those two things you mentioned, Eric, were they both in press and social media?
And
No.
community engagement, weren't they?
The video engagement, I'm just saying
Okay.
that we need to look at,
Yes.
to have a look to update it.
Can we propose then that we look at those two sections?
Yeah.
Because you're saying in 2019, and there's an awful lot of material there, and they seem to be, if we look at a couple at a time, then it will be an ongoing process rather
During
than,
the year.
oh my goodness, because that's how mistakes end up being left where they are.
Or should we leave those two to look at and bring back next month or in September?
And it might be helpful, the district council will have some guidance from members in terms of, so what they actually say themselves.
Yes, that's true.
Press.
Yeah.
Would it not, given the length of time some of these have been around, we adopt them as they are currently, we put in place a process of reviewing and maybe go and look for some updated precedents for some of them, to actually reduce the amount of work that needs to be done.
Yeah, because these were all put in place before I was
And
here.
give ourselves
We could-
a window of 3 months or something over which they'll be reviewed. Sorry, this is about not only we're going to do it,
Yes.
also something we can mark ourselves against as well.
We
in terms of
need
timeline.
to put
It's
a
tangible.
So we usually have an M&I and a marketing committee, so they would review all these individually, but they've been disbanded, so that's why they're all in here. But we could split them down and have a look at 2 or 3 of them each meeting.
So I think that a lot of these could be combined anyway, the mobile device and
Yes,
personal mobile
exactly.
device. they're all
So
part of the
you'd like
same
me, you'd like me to go back and have a look at them and bring them
thing.
back?
I think so, I think they can
Sorry,
be
Chair.
pressed.
If we, as Paul suggested, we bring back the social media and the media bits that Eric's mentioned, those bits, say at September or October meeting, because we've got the summer, we've got a recess, people have got summer holidays, just bring as Bob suggested, a small proportion back each time, then by next annual meeting, we will have done it.
Yes.
Or we'd have done
Some of
Yeah.
them.
Well, should we do that then, to accept them as they are, but then we will need to review and maybe compress them and bring them back in as
I
actual.
think it could be simpler. But Wendy's suggestion of precedents
Yeah.
with other places, I think would be a lot easier. We could find some.
Bite-sized pieces.
Yeah,
Bite-sized pieces.
yeah, can't eat enough.
And a combination of which policies go together, mobile
Yeah.
phone policy and mobile device, it's all a separate one.
Yeah, and personal mobile and storage, personal storage advice and all this sort of.
Yeah, they all do need a review.
Okay, well, I
Is
suppose
that
that-
proposed by Bob? 2 seconds.
All in favour?
Yeah.
Thank you. Item 12, neighbourhood plan working party. So I think we agreed that we would form a working party on this, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do.
We also spoke about getting some quotes from consultants who might assist us.
Yeah, I've got one.
Also, someone said the other day that the funding for neighbourhood plans has ended.
It has ended, yeah, 10,000 has ended.
Obviously, in our previous thoughts, we'd assumed we'd like to get some funding.
That came
Well,
up
the
at that
sooner we get
conference.
on and get it sorted, the sooner we have something that is sympathetic and useful towards future expansion.
I think you said, Helen, that the neighbourhood plans themselves are got a finite life as well. didn't you?
Well, they said that the ones that are in place are still in place, but they're not sure what will happen moving forward. Was the impression I
They all
gave.
need to be reviewed every 4 years anyway.
Anyway, that was for you.
Man might be able
Yeah,
to
Mark,
show you some
I
cards.
wouldn't normally, but I wouldn't normally, I'm really, really sorry that I'm putting you in, but I was part of the
Yes.
original group and I did sit through a lot of really exciting webinars and read a lot of wonderful material. So as soon as your neighbourhood plan is done, you have to start again.
Yeah.
Immediately, as soon as the first one is done, and it's all signed off,
It's a living document.
to start again. It never stops. Once you start, it will keep going forever. The longer you leave it, the less weight it has for planning. You can get help and support, which will make this a little bit of an easier process, although I would query what time you have to complete this, given the looming LGR. That's all I'm going to say.
That was the impression I got.
Once you've got a council.
Yes, certainly the team working on local plan advises, if we need neighbourhood plans, get them done quickly, because they will carry some weight, because the existing, well, the new local plan will be signed off while an NDC still exists. And that will have to carry forward, because the shambles that's going to follow, they'll have nothing else to work to.
Should we form a party, group, and then we can discuss it?
Working party.
Yes, yeah.
That's a good idea.
So I'm not sure what numbers well, based on your previous experience, now, does it need a big group to look at, or is it better to be small?
It cannot just be the town council. The town council is the legal organisation that has to be responsible for it, but you have to have members of the public.
So,
You'll need to be looking at least maybe 8 people, I would think, to represent different demographics, different areas of the town, and different fields of expertise in particular. What an older person who's edging towards retirement wants for the town versus a younger person with a young family. You've got to try and find some happy middle ground there. It isn't as easy as it should be.
so
Chair. So we need people from every part of the town and every district of the town.
All wax is there's enough enthusiasm.
Well, we're going to have to put something out.
We are meant to be doing a public consultation in the summer, so we can
Legally,
read that into
you have to form a public consultation. You can't do this without. However, there is a strange, well, I say strange, actually, fairly typical setup there. You only need a certain percent of the people to say yes. However, that just over 50% doesn't have to be over 50% of the town. It only needs to be over 50% of the people who came forward to the park. So if only 50 people took part, which I'm sure they would be, unfortunately, if only 50 people took part, you'd only need a handful of people to agree. So it's really important that if you're going to do that, you need to spread it as wide as possible and get as many people to take part in that, so that it's as honest a reflection of what the population of the town actually wants. So I think Claire would probably be someone good to help support with that, reaching more people.
my thought was that the council are part of the working group, might be 3 or 4 people. Start with them to then look into what the current situation is and the funding and all the research will be done. And once we understand it, then to seek external public support.
Just a point of information, when the group last met, before there was significant staffing disruption, the head from the high school, who's now the executive head, he started the working group, and he was willing to bring the younger people into the process, to do the consultation, and he had a fantastic plan for that, and obviously I think Brendan Moore as well. He came and started the group, and we have Maxine from Northwashington play, but I think Maxine needs that expertise in terms of accessibility, what we're really looking to, so they're already willing to participate in the town council.
Might suggest that Wendy again has been raised the back, what's going on, so get her up to speed and
I do still have the paperwork
Yeah.
over from the school, and I'm happy to share that with you to help give you a leg up.
So who from our group would be interested in task and a big commitment, I would imagine. I think we probably need 3 or 4 people from this group. I'm sure your expertise would be useful in that.
With planning knowledge, yes, I'll work. But we will be starting this after the summer.
Yeah, probably. I've got to get in contact with lots of people.
It's a lovely document to read, guys, and they do it.
There's lots of training and stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
Um,
yeah.
The volunteering are speaking.
Well, I was going to volunteer, but I also said I thought Claire had her hand up. Yeah, it's just a quick question. There's a possible group starting up in town. And I'm just wondering whether or not that's the sort of thing that you're possibly wanting to sort out.
Yeah, is that like a residence group that's starting up?
I'm not quite sure yet. We've not actually had means to know what it actually is going to be, but it's not anything to do with you guys. It is like more resident business, community. But we, as I say, we've not actually had means yet. I'm just wondering whether or not that would be.
I can keep us informed on that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good, yeah.
Yeah, so we can gather that information together and then we'll have a meeting next month to get a better things before the recess. And, I'll propose it, I guess.
All in favour?
Well, I'm sorry, because
Right, item 13 is to, we have councillors and members from various external groups as sort of a interface between council and groups, which this list is. Some of them may not be appropriate anymore, but we need to identify someone. Regenerate North Horsham, I think, is rebooting itself, but I'm not sure whether they want anyone from the council to be a member, so I propose we leave that alone for the moment. Paul's Allotment Charity is a charity run by the church. It's 50-50 members between council and church, and they give small grants to people in need. I've been representative for a couple of years, and Laura briefly was.
I'm happy to do it.
Yeah.
Nobody else.
Yeah.
So who wants to be there?
Um,
Musical program or?
Well, I don't mind if Laura Helen wants to do it. It's good
Laura.
to have a change of scene. Maybe meet twice a year for about half an hour, so it's not too arduous. Friends of Friesen Reed, which is the Twinning Association. I'm not aware that we've had members on that in recent times.
I'm not sure if there ever been invited to committee meetings.
Right, okay. So we'll leave that one then.
I mean, the committee need, we say this renewal. Whether we welcome candidates or we don't, I'm not sure.
No, presumably
I think
at some point it must be done.
if it's offered, at least one representative.
Yes.
But I don't think they ever come to us for grants.
No.
It's a community shop.
Okay, well, we'll leave that one on the shelf. Bit and Mind Partnership is the support group organisation for the Norwich Showman Line, which I've been the member for that for the past few years. Happy to continue.
I also
Yeah,
sit
you're
on
obviously
that
there
as
for
a
district.
NDC representative.
Safe and Neighbourhood Action Panel.
I go to their meetings, so can I be that? Can I be it? I have the council, but I go to all of the meetings.
Well, I mean,
don't I?
yeah, you can go
I
there,
don't mind
so,
doing that. I'm really
Yeah.
okay,
Because it used to be Lucy, but she
So it's not smashed.
I'm sure that will improve.
It's called a district what?
You'll have to find the name, I'm just throwing some words out there, it's they set the priority, they set a priority for the area, then they go to a district meeting and they set a priority for the district, so we don't get our own individual priority, not district-wide priority.
So I always go to them, but you want to go to them.
North Horsham in Bloom. Do we have a council representative on that?
Not for a lot, Brenda West was the last person.
Yes,
She's
that's quite a while ago.
They meet on mornings.
Yes. I mean, you're obviously the interface anyway.
So we place, there's a close working relationship between the clerk and the background to the organisation. And if somebody particularly wishes to come, we can all work with it.
Okay, well, I'll park that one. Bluebell Pond Working Group, I think, polished themselves, didn't they? Then the shed.
But then they can't be for doing member premises.
They have a First Mill, but is it First Mill?
I think that would.
First,
They found
I'm
one.
sharing the cameo cafe room.
Well, look, First Mill then, put something on Facebook.
Representations regarding presence. They mentioned it. But yeah, it's on the pleasure cafe. It's your men's sheds history. It's a cameo cafe, it's run as a dementia cafe, 3 days a week.
Was it nice?
that's first.
Oh, first, no.
Yeah, so it's not,
Yeah, I know.
apparently they're going to be using it, for a couple of days, storing on unusual,
And they can use it as a workshop.
well, apparently, I understand the cameo cafe are all night, yes. But, that's the Salvation Army.
Anyway,
Oh, I'm pleased that we've got something.
To the men's shed,
Okay.
no, I
I don't think we've got a
Right.
representative.
don't know what Christmas work committee it was.
No. Not familiar with that one.
I don't feel like I should say so.
Okay.
I'm just not going on.
Yeah, right. Do we need to vote for those?
To review and reappoint, yeah, as proposed by.
Close that then. Someone like second? All in favour? Right, item 14, the bins. To explain this one?
Yeah, so a land registry search carried out by NDC shows that the entire grounds of the churchyard is property of the church, and as it's a closed church, the town council looks after the grounds. Mel's explained a little bit about it. So the boys have cleared, the grounds team have cleared behind the headstones, and it was just about us looking after that area now, moving the bins. I need to put, if it's agreed, I would need to put a letter through the residents and the businesses to say that the bins are not allowed to be kept behind their shops in that little alleyway behind the headstones, and that we will look, we talked about making a bin area down behind the chip shop. We would have to concrete that area, make a bin area, and I think we were going to put get the kids or something to design a bin storage area. That's been in the previous meeting.
Would that also need something from NDC, because obviously they're the collectors of waste and others?
Realistically, as the Horsham Town Council is the invested party here, if we don't, obviously, you are free to make this decision. The language shows there is no implied right of access back of any of those properties. This sort of thing, what I've been pushing on about it forever, and I think I'm sick of talking about church and maybe, but this is on the back of a property being brought back into use and the suggestion of removing the headstones. Once the bodies aren't there anymore, but once you remove one of those headstones, everyone wants those headstones gone. And it's just going to create a really complex problem here. Now, bins, it's really upsetting the idea of someone have a funeral and be built up stacked everywhere, it's disgusting. There's plenty of area down there. District have the contract survey. You need only say, this is the location, this is where the bins are. It's then up to Serco to find a way to access those bins and deal with this. Try to obviously act with David. Please act with David because it's the church, it's the reverend, it's reverend, it's a proper thing to do. But get this done. This has gone far too long now. This has took 8 months of me to get to the bottom of the fact that actually this is just something you do. So please,
We've cleared all behind it.
So NDC would be happy to supply 1100 litre bins and take away all the small ones.
Absolutely. And if you clear those up with the additional suggestion, which is there about the reflection area, not far from the back of travel, there's that path that runs up the side by the stones. If you remove all the bins, you run the risk of that turning into a little bit of a racetrack for push lights. So if I put a nice seated area there, it will stop that off a little bit, but it will also help to celebrate the beautiful frontage of the church that exists. That's a fantastic entrance. We should be lifting that up and applauding that. And some people have spent the hardest days of their lives out there for a very short amount of time and see what the church gets with it. Better than Big Mac, I think. And I would leave you with that. Stop interfering.
Are these business bins or are these residence bins from people living above shops?
I think we just need to check and make sure that the district council will arrange for Serco to collect.
They absolutely will.
They will, we've already had a meeting with them.
Oh, they have confirmed.
Yeah.
Oh,
And some of the bins are public contractors like this one who have expired, so they would need to be trying to find the bins.
and this communal area, would that be on the, where the bank starts, behind the fish and chip shop?
Yeah,
Still in the churchyard.
in the churchyard,
But there
by
is-
the
there is a hedge.
butchery,
Yes, behind the
behind
hedge.
butchery.
Oh, it's behind the hedge.
Yeah, so then trundle it down the path, down the new ramp.
Oh, the
There's a
deer
big
ramp
area, there's a really big area because the boys cleared everywhere.
doesn't
Cleared all out.
one.
So I'm trying to visualise this. So where the bins you're proposing, would the bin park hide the fact that there's bins in it, so people that are using the church weren't aware that bins were there and totally shield them?
I think we need to have a fence around it.
Yes, we put
Yeah, it's-
Would you mind if I interject?
Please do.
No, sorry, I don't really want to take time, but lots of the questions you're asking are questions that have already been asked and I've already had the conversation. I think there's a wonderful opportunity. If you look at the pharmacy and other places like that, they have the lockable covers over the top of their bins. That will help to keep bins in place, but also here's a great opportunity to reach out to the schools and create some artwork to put over those covers to make them look really nice. That's a really nice positive thing to do. But obviously up to you guys.
But it's also keeping it, like I was saying, people can spend really horrible days in that church, aren't they? The last thing they want to see is a vineyard, whether that's behind Chainmail Link or whatever. They still don't want to see it. So it needs to be totally. Yeah.
Also, it needs to be in a proper area, so you've got rodent control as well, because rodents are everywhere. I mean, there was an absolute inundation, not this summer, summer before last in North Norfolk, and we do need to be aware of that. If all the bins are in the same area, from a pest control point of view for the town, it is much easier to control.
Hopefully we won't be spilling anything anyway, but they might be when they overflow.
Which route are they taking out? This is the thing, so they're going back round by the chip shop, round that road. So
Yeah, that's where they would, the way they will go, yeah.
what's that total distance?
Hmm?
What's the total distance that they go with €1,100?
It will be easier than having to go round the back of all the shops all the way down to the bottom and pull out this whole way. It's a short distance overall.
It's just when, if there's any, from the Serco side of things, to be,
Well, certainly at the moment, we know, because we spent far too
no, it work out for you.
No, it's fine, because that's a mitigation, because there's a big piece of work done by Wish and the HSC on the ergonomics of bin movement and waste operatives moving things of a certain distance, by size and type, etc. And if you get runaway bins, so there's but that's mitigation, it's a benefit fee.
And I would think from where the chip shop is as well, just to the side of it, Coffee Smith and Sue Ryder, they've got 1100 sat side there. It's a stone's throw, really, just round that round, isn't it? Which that's another thing, and something we probably want to look at. But that's enough about it, isn't it?
So it's some of these properties that never have residents in them, so it's new bins arriving, which is why the issue is got to, you own entities being property.
We've got to keep it split between commercial and domestic waste as well, separate from the hence why a lot of the bins.
Yeah.
Because commercial bin lift is costed differently to
Yeah.
one's statutory duties they've done, and then we've got the changes shortly with food waste as well, first April next year. We've got food waste collection as well.
Okay.
So if we're all in favour, so the proposal would be to ask Wendy to liaise with church and district and the residents to put the plan into action. Which may be a little while, isn't it?
I've got to write the letters.
Oh, yes,
Let's get the ball rolling.
So just one last question.
Yeah.
Have we checked the gradients? Because that first piece from where we're talking about the chip shop, to get down to the top of the new ramp that's gone in, is.
It's not particularly so. It's great, but it's not.
Yeah, I'm just worried.
Well, I think,
What about runaway bins? I'm just worried that might be too much of a gradient.
Did Serco have a comment on the gradient of the, well, they've got to go down the new ramp anyway.
The winning idea at the moment, if you guys, but if I hadn't have done what I've done at this point, you guys on Alan's decision is that bin bag collections. Very well.
We do want bin
I
bags.
think the conversation about rodents and other things, probably listening to the bin bag collections would be an awful compromise. I'd also say possibly if you check your gradient, I won't say 100%, but there's quite an interesting gradient from actually where the chip shop is up to Warden Travel, where they currently
Yeah.
reverse the bins. You can see some of the damage to the headstones that those bins have already caused,
Yeah.
which is a real shame.
I'm just nervous if we tell them what is happening, and then somebody raises, also that gradient's too sharp for us to push them back up or put them down. That's what I'm worried about.
It's check that, okay.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
checking it out with NEDC is the first step to make sure it's all
Yeah.
feasible, then we go to the,
Yeah.
to the residents. So, someone like the second that? All in favour? Okay. Item 14, strategic plan, I'll leave that till part 2.
15, yeah.
15, sorry. Item 16, agreement cost for the playground works.
That is the Rocking Horse. I was just to ratify that cost. And it, oh no. Yeah, the playground cost. Did you get a copy of that?
Is there?
Right, wrong. Yeah, so it's just to ratify the cost of the £2,000, just to put the Rocking Horse in. It needs to go in. We need the ground put in. So it was 2,000.
Is that for the groundworks?
The groundworks, yeah.
Okay.
I know you said softball is expensive, and you looked at the mats. Do the mats offer the same kind of levels of protection as other options? Because you can get softball, but actually buy it in tiles. So it offers the same finish.
Yeah, they're reconstituted tyres, aren't
They're
they?
recycled tiles, so they're environmentally friendly, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
They're cheaper, and they still come, I think they come like a 20-year guarantee, or something crazy.
Okay. Can I have a look at
I
that then?
think from a health and safety point of view, it'd be a better recommendation, because when you're talking about the grass and the hog, and I thought,
Obviously, some horrible accidents, and then that's where the grass grows.
well,
where
it's
it's
just been liable, isn't it?
Yeah, I would look into it, personally, I would look into the recycled tire option, that's.
Absolutely agree, that's great.
Yeah, and with concrete slabs, the same either way, isn't it? So
Yeah.
just putting these on top.
So if you, then you delegate authority, I mean, they're a bit cheaper, then we'll just go ahead and do that, yeah. Okay, that's fine, just. You Those are, yeah,
Yep.
because it's just a bit above my allowance, so it's 2,185, I think I took it to finance.
So let's second that. All in favour? Thank you. Item 17 is to allow Cadent to install a gas governor case in Treckside Park.
This came up before, didn't it?
I did.
But this time they've actually given us the little box, what they want to do and where they propose it to go and things, but they did say about, leasing the land or buying the land. They want them- no, they don't buy the land.
No, but once it's there, we're never going to go back, are we?
I certainly wouldn't agree with selling it. Some sort of leasehold or a green way. What they call it. What that piece of land is worth to them.
Yeah, so we've got a little electrical box there, so it'd just go next door to that, wouldn't it? And it's behind the,
Who's paying the electric possibly then?
that'd be them. No, they'd install it all, wouldn't they? That electrical box is ours anyway, and it's there anyway.
Oh, that's that.
That's ours. I did have a new earthing thing put in it because it wasn't correct, but they put
So
the,
which place are they suggesting on the plan?
Proposed place
Here.
is next to the
next to the
electrical box.
electrical box here.
Yeah, so it's.
And then with the gate that's done, they then can get access, or they can get access in
We
the back.
need a reasonable way from.
It says it needs to be like 4 metres by 2.5.
That's 4 metres plus 2 metres clear all the way round.
That doesn't, that hedge, where the hedge is,
So it doesn't big enough.
it doesn't look, no, it doesn't look big enough, but it might be an optical illusion, so have the photograph.
Somebody check the size of the ground.
Yeah, I can get that.
We can check that, because otherwise you're going to have to get, they're going to have to take that hedge out.
I should think they've been out and had a look at it. They just want to get that there's a potential for the go ahead for it, and then I'll speak to them and then get them out to measure it and make sure that that can all
Okay, so they don't want a decision yet, that's where this is all that. We'll
Proposed,
go
yeah.
ahead subject to the
Yeah.
details.
Principal subject to the.
Yeah.
Financial.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, well, that's fine.
It's agreed in principle. I need to put.
All in favour of that? Thank you.
I'll go back to them now and then get some more
Yeah.
information out.
Item 18.
Can I please make speak?
You can be.
Thank you.
You could shut the door.
Yep. Let me back together.
Okay. So item 18 is to look at the cost of replacing the toilets in the pavilion, which is obviously used by Bobby's, which is why Laura has left. But we are the landlord of the building, we're responsible for the basic
They are
structure.
those
and its contents.
old-fashioned ones with a chain. And they went wrong, and the bit you couldn't get no more, James had to make a bit for it to work, but they are the old pull ones.
Pulling back.
Pulling cranks.
Just move back here.
Yeah.
yeah, second that,
That old.
yeah.
Can't we
Proposed
get-
that?
Can't we get some money out of the community fund towards them?
Self-presenting.
Who seconded that? Who seconded that? Bob?
National resale, they've got retro, haven't they?
Yeah.
The
All in
toilet
favour?
I took out last
Yeah,
month.
All in favour? Oh, Claire, could you let her in there?
Yeah.
She's in the toilet. You can open the door again now, she can come in. Oh, you have to do both. Right, 19 is.
It's my fun part of it.
So this is to agree the annual governance, between annual governance and accountability return 2024-25. So read out who the other section 1, just a moment, section 1. Right, I've got to read some things out and I've got to say yes or no. We have put in place arrangements for effective financial management during the year and for the preparation of the accounting standards.
Yes.
Yes. We maintained an adequate system of internal control, including measures designed to prevent and detect fraud and corruption, and reviewed its effectiveness.
Yes.
We took all reasonable steps to assure ourselves that there are no matters of actual potential non-compliance with laws, regulations and proper practices that could have a significant financial effect on the ability of this authority to conduct its business or manages its finances.
Well, we wouldn't have got our audit without all these.
We provide a proper opportunity during the year for the exercise of electors' rights in accordance with the requirements of the accounts and audit regulations. Because she's had my internal audit would have a fit if we didn't. We carried out an assessment of the risks facing this authority and took appropriate steps to manage those risks, including the introduction of internal controls and all external insurance cover where required. Yes. We maintained throughout the year an adequate and effective system of internal audit on the accounting records and control systems. We took an appropriate action on all matters raised in reports from internal and external audit. Yes. We considered whether any litigation, liabilities, commitments, events or transactions occurring either during or after the year end had a financial impact on this authority and appropriate and have included them in the accounting statements. Local councils with trust funds, including charitable, in our capacity as sole managing trustee, we discharged our accountability responsibilities for fund assets, including financial reporting and if required independent examination of audits. I'm going to say no to that because we're still looking into that. So it's taken me a long while to look into it. Done our memorandum of understanding, but we still haven't done our charity reporting. Yeah, so I am going to say no to that because the internal auditors said no.
And reviewing process.
Yeah, so I am in the middle of doing it, but obviously with the year I've had. Yeah. So we've got to sign and date that. Do you want to do that after the meeting?
Can I just say, if you're saying yes to these, just look at our website, the finance and grants committee, they have to do, there's still the work from the last meeting, the meeting before the minutes and the agenda packs go on. There's no agenda packs on.
For the finance meetings, yeah. We'll put those on.
Put them on, please.
Yeah.
Before somebody says spots and be shot at.
Well, this will all go on as well. So that's something.
You can have that on when it goes in.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
don't know why the agenda packs are not there, but.
What, for the finance meetings?
They're not there for finance. Once you look at finance and grants, if they've got the agenda, they've got some of the minutes.
They never used to have an agenda packs, would never ever used to be put on for the finance committee. That's something that I brought in, so I just make sure what ladies can. And so that's the first one, and then.
The accounting statements in section 2.
So this is all taken, this can go round actually. These are the balances brought forward, staff costs, sort of other receipts, and this is taken from our accounts. So I don't know if I just want to quickly have a look at that. Oh, this is
All
the
seeing the fixed term assets are always as high.
Well, we need to go through the asset register.
Get into no debate.
Oh, no, sorry.
Does that go on our website?
Yeah, all goes on our website. I've got to do it by Friday, so it'll go out tomorrow. And do our public rights notice, public notice. So anybody can come and look at our accounts.
That's the one, just,
Yeah.
So is everyone happy with that policy?
So number one, I need a proposer and a seconder for those items that I read out.
Those
Second.
in favour? Okay,
And approve the accounting statement, which is this one. A proposer and seconder for that. Paul, Fabian?
well, seems to be the finance committee chair.
Sorry.
So.
morning.
Writing some notes down.
And then accept all the AGAR papers if I
Yeah.
can have a proposer.
Yeah.
Proposed by Eric, yeah?
Yeah.
And second by. And then the internal auditors report. Did you not get that? Did you not get that? No, that's,
That's just been asked.
Just,
yeah. Oh, yeah. So proposer for that.
That's just received, isn't it?
Oh, awesome. Okay, that's lovely. Thank you.
Okay, items for next agenda. Various things came out of today's meeting.
The only thing, Charles, I mean, we're new, so
Yes, yeah.
we don't know an awful lot about the Norfolk and Suffolk, but this business about devolution, and you have to be very mindful and careful, you know, and there's a lot of conversation about sort of how it'll be divided up and what will happen with this, that and the other. But
Well, some of
I
that,
think
some of that
it's
will be in
necessary.
part two.
We're going to talk about that in part two.
Oh, wait, good.
BS should write it, so important point.
There's a lot to think about.
It is. Okay, with the dates of the next meetings, DNA is on the 1st of July.
There's a couple of people can't make that, and as we need to propose a chairman, did you want to think about changing that date?
Probably should, shouldn't we? Paul and Helen, could make the 1st of July, could we? So when are you back?
Training.
So we could do the 8th, for example.
I can't do the 8th.
Doesn't have to be until it's at the end.
I can't do the 8th.
And
I can't do the 10th. Sorry.
following week, we can do it.
Not sure whether I can. Well, we don't have to be Tuesday necessarily. do we?
I could do the Thursday, 17th in the evening. See what happens. Oh, get back in time.
Sunday 17th.
Yeah.
17th of July.
17th,
Okay, is that okay?
6:30.
Yeah.
Is that right? Next straight from Huntingdon.
Well,
No, that's for the, that's the development.
oh, right, yeah, sorry.
Should be a Monday, not Tuesday.
Finance, budget, 28.
You're going to
Yeah.
put your
Ah,
apologies.
well,
Oh, so should that be the
Should be the Monday, which is 28th.
Monday, sorry, yeah, because it's the day before the full council.
Your apologies then.
Yeah, apologies for that.
For the full,
Yeah,
for
I
the
think both of them will
Both
be,
of them.
unfortunately,
Okay.
will be in court. Dead in one of them.
Okay,
With grandchildren.
lovely, thank you.
okay, thank you. So that's the end of the public part there. Thank you.
I'll just pass this way.
We'll share one. Share one Monday.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, Mayor.
See you later. Want me to shut the door or you grab the door?
Yeah.
You grab the door? See you later. Right. All done. See you guys later.